Hi, today we're going to look at section 1.1, function given by a formula. Our objectives are to understand function given by a formula and to understand independent variables and dependent variables. A function tells how one thing depends on others. Let's first start by looking at functions of one variable. Example 1. If your job pays $9.53 per hour, what is your weekly pay? Let's think about this. Something is missing. I need additional information. I need to know how many hours you worked. So we say that our weekly pay depends on the number of hours worked. Our weekly pay depends on the number of hours worked. So I'm going to first, before I write my formula, I'm going to define my variables. I always want you to define your variables. You can pick any letter you want. I'm going to pick W and H because W for weekly and H for hours. So let W equal the weekly pay my units dollars, the weekly pay in dollars. H is the number of hours. Worked per week. I do not just put hours. It is the number of hours worked per week. Make sure it's well defined. Therefore, W is a dependent variable and H is the independent variable because W depends on H. Now I can write my formula. W depends. Weekly pay depends. That's where my equal sign goes. My weekly rate, my hourly rate, I should say, is $9.53 per hour. And I have to include my units, and it's dollars. I write the word dollars. I do not put the dollar symbol in front of the 9. So we say that W is a function of H. Now I want to write it in functional notation. It is just notation. W depends on H. W of H. It lets me know that H is my independent variable and W is my dependent variable. And now I want to rewrite my formula using function notation. Everything stays the same. The only thing that changes is the W now is W of H. Use functional notation to express the weekly pay if a person worked 25.5 hours, then calculate its value. First, notation, W of, I want to calculate 25.5 hours. I put it inside the parentheses. That's functional notation. Now I'm going to calculate its value. I'm going to substitute 25.5 in for H. And then I'm going to calculate its value. We always round money to the nearest hundredths. Now, let's look at functions of several variables. Example 2. When you borrow money to buy a home or a car, you pay off the loan in monthly payments, but interest is always occurring on the outstanding balance. If you borrow P dollars at a monthly interest rate of R, as a decimal, and wish to pay off the note in T months, then your monthly payment, M, equals M of PRT in dollars, can be calculated using this formula right here. We want to explain the meaning of this and calculate its value. So we know that 6,500 is the amount you borrow. 0.0058 is your interest rate. You change that to, it's in decimal already. And then 36 months. And M stands for your monthly payments. So you put it all together, what does that expression represent? It represents the monthly payment if you borrowed $6,500 at an interest rate of 0.58% for 3 years. $36 months equals 3 years. Now we want to calculate its value. Again, show the substitution. I can also, if I wanted to here, go ahead and add that 1 in. Remember, it's for the months, 36 months we use, not the 3, divided by 1 plus 0.0058, raised again to the 36th power minus 1. Here you have to be careful. You need to add an extra set of parentheses in the denominator. You don't need it in the numerator, but you definitely need it in the denominator. Some people like to put it up here. You don't have to use that extra set, but you definitely need it in the denominator. You calculate this value. It's approximately, again, you round to the nearest hundreds, $200.58. In your homework assignment, you will have a problem similar to this. So this should help you with that. Functional notation, independent, dependent variable. What depends on what? You have to be able to identify your independent variable and dependent variable in order to write your function correctly. Thank you and have a great day.